submitted for your approval. A fan-based show who encompasses the multi-twined multiverse of superheroes, villains, sci-fi, fantasy, horror, and action comedy. All whose genesis stems from the printed page of the comic book. At the logo streaming towards your head, you've just entered into Comics, Cons, and Beyond. All right, hey, welcome back, comic book fans, to Comics, Cons, and Beyond. Your multi-twine multiverse delivered. As always, I'm your reverend host, Lawrence. With me, as usual, I have
Bob
and
Adam.
And we are here where there's been a lot going on since we've last talked. First off, for dun, 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 comic books to screen shenanigans, we have a tremendous amount to talk about of what is up and coming for all of you fans. Bob, take it away.
Well, to start off, obviously one memorable mention right now would be, unfortunately, looks like Deadpool wound up losing its composer. Adam, you want to lead us into a little bit more about that?
He left it in regards to solidarity, apparently by a tweet on his account stating that it was in solidarity for the director, which had recently left for creative differences. It makes me wonder about...
Wasn't that creative difference on who they thought would work best for the character of Cable?
That was one of the major subjects covered, yes.
Yeah, I mean, as far as composer goes, I mean, I don't know what goes on at that point, but... Yeah. I mean, that's obviously in a long run of things that Deadpool's wound up getting as issues. Obviously, we know Tim Miller, one of the writers, wound up leaving as well. But, you know, Deadpool seems to be getting its, unfortunately, rough patch. One thing we do or have heard as rumors...
Interwebs.
...is that it does seem like the writer or director of John Wick might be
the Keanu Reeves movies there.
Yep. So he might wind up directing, which is a little exciting to say the least if anyone out there has seen John Wick, and I'm sure there's not many of you out there who haven't. So that's a little bit exciting to say the least.
And I think that is streaming either on Hulu. I know it's not on Netflix, but Hulu should have it, or Amazon Prime if you subscribe to those, and even Amazon
has it. That's why I watched it. Didn't expect it to be as good too.
Really?
It's an old review of something, but I expected that to be just kind of like a generic kind of we wish we were still in the Matrix shooting, and no, it wasn't. It had really cool cinematography too, which I didn't expect.
Definitely makes you wonder how many dogs he's going to wind up running through it. This one.
He's just going to become like a veterinarian in the end, just sitting with a shotgun, petting poodles.
Who was it? I believe there was someone that was it you, Adam, who mentioned is like, well, couldn't it have all just been avoided if you just went and got another dog in the very beginning? Or
don't worry, I love animals, but I'm just saying, like human beings, like one can turn a key, the other one can just go on the floor. Like I understand what the motive was, but not really. Like you killed a bunch of people over an animal. You eat animals more intelligent than that.
But it was my dog, man. It was my dog. Speaking of the clap, we're back on the burning topic of the week. Bob, what do you got burning?
Every week.
Something new. It's something new.
Week.
I just turned it a little bit.
Anyway. So to take an actual dive into comic books solely, one thing I kind of want to touch down on is the fact that we know that there's new Iron Man coming out after Civil War II. Her name is Riri, and she's, I think the general topic or style of the way this week's discussion is going is controversial. Riri is unfortunately wound up getting she's not dead. I know this sounds really terrible, like I'm leading to something terrible, but no, that's not the case.
Hope not.
That's what I am.
She's taking a fair share of flack from the critics.
What's the issue? What's the deal with that?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, the front cover that she wound up coming out with, they said it was too sexualized. So what they did is they just redrew it in a different style, but almost in the same exact pose, and they seem to be okay with that. Another one is that obviously she is African American, for all of you out there who did not know that.
God, no.
And the writer seems to be taking a fair share of flack as well for that, and he's come out and actually said that these people are being bold-faced racist.
It blows my mind. Again, being the older one of the three of us, I've lived through the latter part of the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. I saw racism go from the tail end of the 50s and 60s to a point where equality was becoming more and more common, which was good, to now with political correctness and the counter racism, it looks like we've just gone back 50 years and need to start over. This is bullshit.
Well, I mean, with comic books in general, I mean, it's not too hard to believe. We've seen it with Spider-Man, and not just Miles Morales, but we've also just seen sometimes you just not necessarily need to kill a character off, but you need to kind of just give him a break.
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna get bored of reading about your same character, and you're gonna stop reading it because it's gonna be the same regurgitated, redone stuff, and you're gonna lose interest. And Marvel and DC are aware of that, so. These characters need breaks. It's nice to see someone else come in the spotlight, and we obviously know that if a hero dies, they never really die in these comic books. So this is something that needs to be done.
For sure. And for all you fans out there, buy triples of these issues and show the racists that they have their heads shoved up their ass, please. Really piss them off.
Another mention, I guess, to take it a little bit step into other publishers would be Image has come out with... some news regarding film Beowulf, or not film, I apologize, a comic book Beowulf that's going to be redone in English from Spanish by Santiago Garcia, so that's a little exciting. As well, they have a new comic book coming out, or a new comic book in general, Mayday, which is a kind of thriller based in the Cold War era, so it's going to be interesting to kind of keep your eyes out for that as well. Those are some pretty good comic books to kind of keep your eyes out for. Again, controversial stuff of the week. Riri, we're sorry. As Americans out there, we're sorry. And obviously we know that there are some kind of roiling terms that everybody's going through. But
screw it. We're not sorry. If you guys are racist and you have a problem with it, there you go. But, the comics have really pushed the boundaries. I mean, comics, pop culture, television, movies. I remember when Star Trek first came out and William Shatner as Captain Kirk and Nichelle Nichols, Uhura, had their first on-screen kiss. That was the first time there was a kiss between a white man and a black woman, and people just lost their shit on it.
But you get viewers that way.
Oh yeah, you get viewers, but it opens up the dialogue.
Yeah.
It helps us, and that's one thing with artists, whether comic book artists, writers, novelists, television actors, whatever, the whole artistic community. I feel they add that needed culture of change that we all need to embrace. I mean, all this, again, political correctness and people whose feelings get hurt too easily grow up.
Well, you need to make it a part of your life. I mean, it's really what it comes down to. And the best way to do that is involve it in everything so that everybody can kind of get a taste for it. We're not saying that everything's going to be overhauled. We're not going to say that, all of a sudden Marvel or DC is going to wind up going solely one color or one race or anything like that. But it has to be changed, and we get that. And the best way to do it is through comic books, news, all these kind of cultures. So there are critics out there, and there will be critics. Obviously, you can't make everybody happy, but I mean, this is the right place to do it. Comic books, as well as things that you incorporate into everyday life. Facebook, even really, is what it comes down to.
Yeah. I mean, change is inevitable, whether it's positive, which we hope it's always positive change, but sometimes it's going to be negative, and we tackle it at that time. But that's one thing I love. You look across all of these titles here. I mean, every one of these titles, there's such diversity from different perspectives of life, different views of life, different cultures that are contributing their kind of a little bit of themselves in their stories. The one thing I've known for the longest time, comic books, movies, pop culture, it's all about sci-fi, fantasy, horror, blood, guts, horror, tits, and ass. It really is. Yep. And there's going to be the kiddie ones, the kiddie titles, and that's good for that audience. I don't want them exposed to stuff that they shouldn't be exposed to early on. But for the mature reader, we should be able to have the ability to read the stuff that appeals to us and has that maturity level that we want. Our mentions of Jeremy Renner appearing as Hawkeye in Netflix.
Yeah, I mean,
his own little series.
I mean, as far as there's some talk online about Jeremy Renner, who's gone through some interviews. Maybe he feels that Hawkeye is kind of out of the spotlight, which seems reasonable. I mean,
He's the only normal person in that storyline. I'm sorry, like everyone else is some monstrous creature.
and you can only
Even
do so
Black
much
Widow.
before you run out of arrows.
Oh, come on.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But I mean,
He's a badass fighter. I mean, him and Black Widow, the only real true like human characters, but they're pretty badass.
no, they definitely are, and we obviously know that there's an assassin kind of storyline behind that. So that's something that I feel like Jeremy Renner wants to
Pretty cool to
go
see play
into.
out.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Even if it was just a Hawkeye or Black Widow film, I think it would be really something that would bring something different to the Marvel Universe, and we all kind of need to see that at this point if they're going to kind of include those two characters continuously in the storylines to come, because God only knows when Thanos rolls out, they're not really going to have much to go up against.
That is true. I'd hate to think that Thanos would be taken down by an exploding arrow.
Well,
To the
I'm
knee.
sure they'll have wind up having...
Well, that could cripple. He's like, oh, what the hell are you doing with the knee and the exploding? Get the...
Apparently, they make you old Jewish men. That's
Yes.
how it works.
Yeah,
That's a special
exactly.
arrow. He had it just made.
Yeah, it was kosher too. My rabbi blessed it.
All right.
Well,
Mazel tov.
folks are out of control, as usual.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. But you wouldn't expect anything less from us, would you guys? You would?
So harsh.
Anyways, more news. Talk about well, not really streaming, but televised comic book to screen adaptations or shenanigans. Walking Dead.
Yeah.
What's going on with Walking Dead?
Well, I mean, obviously, anybody who's anybody and hasn't been under a rock knows that this beginning of the season is pretty controversial. I mean, at this point, I'm pretty sure we can all assume there are going to be some deaths if anyone winds up, again, not living under a rock. But we've kind of been out of the loop for this last week. We missed a week.
Sorry.
But we definitely do need to make a mention to the fact that they introduced, not nearly introduced, but Negan has stepped out of the dark and is a prominent villain now. He's made his bat heard. Unfortunately,
nice.
on several of the most popular characters, but not to get too in depth into that. You
No
guys-
spoilers.
Yeah, we definitely want you guys to go see that. Go out there, see it. It is heartbreaking, as everyone would expect it to be.
Like the first bit of Up. Just the first 15 minutes like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Because that really crushed me. I shed some tears on that one. I really did.
He died in the first 10 minutes of the movie.
I know. I
Even
said I
Frankie's
shed some
mom.
You
tears.
guys have seem to have a
Gosh.
problem with ruining storylines here. What's going on with that?
What? Up
You didn't
came out
know?
a few years ago. If you didn't see Up and know this, shame on you.
Same thing kind of goes with The Walking Dead, though, too.
Yeah, that's true. Whatever.
But I mean, there have been some quakes in the ground as far as people being afraid this is the equivalent of jumping the shark. That's how big these deaths are. So we definitely see that it's gonna wind up playing a huge role into what's to come. Obviously, just to come out right and say it, it's not Daryl, because
You're safe.
Yeah, Daryl's safe, but they said that the deaths are in turn due to obviously something that Daryl did, going to wind up weighing heavily on him in the story to come. So we're going to see that, which is going to be good to see that character fleshed out, a character that really we don't know anything about because he's not in the comic books. So.
Yeah. So they can pretty much do whatever they want with him because he's not canon to the actual comic book series.
He's definitely the best decision to go with because you're not spoiling anything for the readers. And they have no idea what's going. That's one of the reasons why I was actually impressed with the first season so much. Was I was worried they were just going to try to use that as just the baseline and not introduce new characters, and they totally did. And Daryl's good.
It's actually amazing, like for someone that they wind up incredibly relying on, that character has been in there for that long. But it's really good, and he's consistently one of those characters that we want to see succeed.
Yeah.
Through some struggles. I personally am kind of really getting tired of Rick, but
How dare you say bad things against Rick?
I know.
God, really? Well, and plus he's only the most successful actor besides Willem Dafoe to come from the Boondock Saints. And if you haven't seen the Boondock Saints, off topic, you got to see it. Great fucking movie, except for the second one.
Oh,
Never should have
God.
made.
It was so
Never
bad.
should have been made.
So bad.
Never.
I am doing something I've always wanted to do, once again because of the app, the Comixology app. and of course the service through my Amazon Prime. Waste a lot of money, but get a lot of fun stuff. I am reading what I've always wanted to, which was the Dread series.
He's such a bragger. He really is.
It's so awesome. Like, I have like around like almost 200 issues to read through.
Holy crap.
Don't get me wrong, like I became a Dread fan because of little tidbits here and there, and then the newest release of the film, and also the Stallone one, but that was back in the day, so it's acceptable.
So you're excited about the rumored second film coming out,
Oh,
or second
so
new
excited.
film, I guess, coming out.
The reboot.
Yeah, the reboot, reboot,
Oh my god, it's gonna be so awesome.
boot.
Ah!
But I do have to say that like I'm enjoying reading Dread. It is ridiculous and over the top. Like it's about what you expect, and it's pretty much just one long shootout, which is exactly how the movie plays out.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were so true to it. I thought like it was going to be like the original film from Stallone and whatnot, where it's like some long, drawn-out science fiction storyline. But no, it's like just pretty much just shooting with a villain to catch in this weird environment. I'm digging it so much right now.
Sounds like it's something to look forward to, yeah.
Mhm.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, you guys reading anything else?
Yep.
Go ahead.
I definitely want to go into the fact that obviously we know or I know.
Ooh.
Trust me, I know.
Bob knows.
I know. Trust me, I know. That Venom's coming out. They're gonna reboot
this?
that,
Yes.
which is so exciting for me. I mean, I was kind of happy with the way the art was going in these last couple issues, but we know that Mike Costa is going to wind up writing that, and Gerardo Sandoval is going to be doing the art. So I'm kind of interested to see what's going on here. But Venom is close to my heart. Spawn, all that kind of stuff. Todd McFarlane. So we're in for a little treat, or I'm in for a treat. I don't know any of you out there, but
Oh, hold that thought, because yes, there is something new that I saw that I'm picking up today, and I'm going to read. Wait, right there.
oh my goodness.
Guys, the only thing I love about Tom McFarlane was after a comic book career or during it, one of the things he always wanted to do is make action figures. Now he's doing that. His action figures are always the best.
Wes Craven and Steve Niles, Coming of Rage.
Oh, wow.
I saw this. I flipped through it, and since again, I love horror. I love the supernatural and the macabre and the vampires and the werewolves and yada, yada, yada. I saw this, and plus Wes Craven, Steve Niles from 30 Days a Night, IDW. This press is Liquid Comics. They collaborated before Wes Craven passed away, and we sorely miss him. I'm going to read this, and I'll have this for next time.
I wonder if it's inspired or written by Wes Craven. That'd be interesting to see.
We'll find out.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Where did he go?
Back!
Welcome to Gamers Realm. I'm Jeremy Gibbs for Comics Cons and Beyond, and let's get into it. We are bringing you the best things and the biggest highlights of the gaming news industry. First off, we got League of Legends. SKT, another great team from Korea, has taken Worlds once again for the third time out of 4 World Champions up against SSG, or Samsung Galaxy as you may know them. Very boosted. Next, we have Season 7 of League of Legends coming in. Season 6 is ending. Sadly, I only hit silver. Boosted, bad, but, what can I say? But with Season 7, we have big new champion highlights, new reworks, and new updates to your favorite assassins, or what I say are cancerous, such as Katarina, LeBlanc, Zed, Rengar, and many more. And one thing I like to highlight on is Katarina. She has more daggers, and I believe it's her E, the teleport, is even more cancerous and easier for her to get out of team fights. And again, I'm going to be tilted to all hell.
Blizzard likes to play mind games with us
Yeah.
because they own us.
They most certainly do.
We are the prisoners.
I serve and obey. I serve and obey.
I mean, obviously, we saw or some of us out there, they wound up recently releasing as well. Looks like they're adding a new class or character to Diablo 3, which is the Necromancer, which is a little exciting for anyone who's kind of getting tired of playing the same classes over and over and over again. Or
Witch Doctor was
Little
lame. Like don't worry, he could solo pretty well. I just didn't like his presentation.
Really?
Dude, he was a crotchety old man who shook.
Okay, true.
Like, I wanted to give him a chair. Don't get me wrong, he could destroy. You have exploding hounds with a crit build to be able to bring up your cooldowns. You could destroy. You could have a non-stop stream of around 4 or 5 dogs just exploding. Bring down my ping.
Well, it's definitely nice to see a little bit of skeletons roaming around, taking some people out while you kind of get to sit back and do things that necromancers normally do.
Yeah, think about the deep stuff.
Which grave I'm going to
Contemplate which corpses to bring back.
Yeah.
There you go.
This guy, I don't know, his tombstone's a little bit, hokey. It's like Bejeweled.
No memorable mentions.
This is nobody. There was a whatchamacallit. I was going to talk about the Diablo hinting. One of the other things that was like kind of the Easter egg was a dice set they gave in the loot bag. If you're fortunate enough to get one, it gives a complete, I guess you'd say, standard D&D D20 system dice bag. So I'm
Standard.
not going to go down numbers. Oh, you have to
Dragons.
know. You have to know what the crits are.
D20.
How many times I've failed my rolls. Ugh.
It's not just you. It's all of us.
Some of the things that my dungeon master made me do, it was just.
Well,
I'd rather
sounds terrible.
have my character die. So, next on our list we have Turtle Rock, the studio that brought us Left 4 Dead as well as Evolve, came out with a brand new virtual reality horror game called Face Your Fear. It just came out around October 27th, right in time for Halloween. What do you guys think about that? You going to get into that?
I'm honestly debating about where to choose with the whole VR system. With VR gear, as you know, Steam had a drop for last month with their system, where they had nothing but 0.3% sales for an entire month. And the PlayStation, I know it's the weaker device for VR. However, it does have the bigger client base where people can possibly make new IP on that thing. And they already have 7 titles, but only around 3 of them are real. Most of them are pretty much just basically demos.
Yeah.
So it is a hard call, man.
Well, I mean, it's definitely wound up getting its criticism as well. But I mean, VR VR is definitely bringing something a little bit more of the Wii nunchuck kind of style. I think this kind of step in the right direction. Horror films is definitely the best way to do it. I mean, honestly, things jumping out at you, where could you possibly go wrong? So it's definitely jumping into its own space with things. But why has no one really brought racing into it? I mean, personally,
Racing would be awesome. You just like have like the old steering wheel as well.
Yep.
Oh, man.
And you can do the gear shift.
Well, not only that, but they also have with
That's why I do my house
with
anyways.
the new PS4 nunchucks as well. They've got or not nunchucks or whatever the
Like
PlayStation.
Just
PlayStation
call them what they are. They're
Yeah.
nunchucks
Yeah.
with little light bulbs
Nunchuck
on them.
Knockoffs.
But again, and I hate to fall back on this,
They're
and you'll
accurate.
hear me say this multiple times, but why are they not doing a pod racer reboot? If you did pod racers in VR, sell out, easy.
I will cut your line, homie.
Yeah.
Shut up and take my money.
Right? Absolutely. No, I think as a lot of you out there have not yet seen, and myself included, VR is kind of we have to buy into it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not cheap. So it's nice to see that at least horror games, because really there aren't too many horror games out there right now. We do have Outlast coming out, but
For all of us here at Comics Cons and beyond, see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
oh George.